I'm William Nozak, and in this module, I'm going to cover developing a plan. So, why have a plan for content marketing? For one, we want to be successful with what our content writers are writing and what we research. Content marketing needs a data-driven plan, right? We need to see what we're writing, research to make sure that there's searchers out there, write against that search volume, because it's not branding for the most part when we're writing content. We're looking at what people are already searching. It's called SEO. What queries exist, what query volumes exist, how difficult are they? Can we write content that makes sense underneath our brand and underneath our business? Can we win for those queries in time? And can we continue to write around that whole topic and really become the expert on the topic? So develop a plan should make use of analytics to inform decisions, right? Once we use analytics in the front end, we research to make sure that there's really even a group of people searching for that content. That content makes sense and exists on a page outside of, say, other certain pages. Maybe it exists best as a paragraph on another page, or really maybe it exists as an entire page with ancillary pages. Data is going to show us this, and then we make the page, publish the page, and then we're going to see post analytics, how we're doing on the keyword. This is really SEO stats, SEO analytics. You don't find this necessarily really well in Google Analytics. That's why you're going to use other tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush and other tools to tell you how does this page do against certain keywords or keyword clouds. So a content marketing plan helps a business maintain an edge over the competition, right? We want to be the expert, we want to be the authority, and we want to gain trust with people. We want them to find us at the top of the funnel, in the middle of the funnel, and certainly at the bottom of the funnel. How do we develop a plan? One, we're going to set mission and set goals, establish KPI, know the target audience, and this is certainly going to take time, assess current position, figure out content channels, decide content types, identify and allocate resources, create a content calendar, create content, distribute and market, and then measure results. And really, we're measuring results the whole way. So set mission and goals. And right, this is a little different than the company mission and goals and values. And that really defines the company as a whole. But really for our campaigns and our marketing strategies, we really need to have a kind of like a mission statement with certain things we're trying to accomplish. Maybe certain targets, demographics we're targeting, or a certain service we're pitching. So the mission statement is there to help ensure all content created serves a defined purpose. This is really, you can have a mission statement along the way that just kind of aligns your strategy with your company and with your activities. The mission statement should outline factors like the target audience, the types of content used to reach the target audience, and the benefits the target audience will derive from the content. Next, define goals, right? Goals associated with the business, such as growing brand awareness. Are we just trying to get more impressions and clicks and likes and shares? Like that is a real thing. Because we know that the larger brand awareness campaign we have, the more people searching our name in Google, these are good things, right? Those are hot leads, people searching our name because hypothetically they know what we do, they trust our brand, and these are really like high convertible searches. So increase sales, right? We need more clicks, more leads, more sales. Gaining organic traffic, if we need our site to just gain traffic altogether, if we're an informational site, maybe a news site. Improving revenue, and that's what it really always boils down to. If you run a business, it's not an .org, it's not an organization or a nonprofit, it's a .com, it has to produce revenue. So boosting social media engagement also, what are we doing in social media? What is the goal? What is the whole thing we're trying to accomplish here? So we're gonna establish some handles, right? We need to have some handles that can pick things up and say, okay, it's in the wrong spot. What KPI, key performance indicators, do we want to say are super important when it comes to marketing activities? We could do marketing activities for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. And really, it's like changing the direction of a barge. And if you're not careful without informing people along the way what you're trying to accomplish and just showing them little glimpses of what you're doing, right, the kindling in a fire, then they really can lose hope and faith in what you're trying to accomplish, because a lot of C-suites and organization owners want to see things like right now. This SEO thing, this digital marketing thing, a lot of it can take a long time to correct. And when you get people to buy in and doing the right things over time, it actually can have a massive payoff. And that's the great thing about really having measurables along the way. So KPIs keep goals specific and measurable. Most KPIs use numbers to measure success. Most common KPIs, unique page visits, number of downloads. We want people to come and get this document or this thing, this white paper we've created. Time on page is definitely important. Are people coming and staying longer? Are people coming and staying for 10 seconds when they used to stay for a minute? What have we done and what have we changed? Inbound links. Is the content that we're creating generating inbound links? Are people taking us serious, or what we are writing being considered authoritative, and people are saying, hey, I want to write these things. Take a look what's said by this company. Super important here. Cost per click, is it going up? Is it going down? Are we seeing conversions from that? As we pay more, is it increasing our conversions? As we pay less, are we losing a certain group of terms that definitely turn into conversions? Lead generation, is our lead hopper improving? Yes, is it 1%? Is it 2%? Is it 3%? Are we spending $10 a lead? Are we spending $500 a lead? Are those leads worth $10,000 over the LTV of the client? Are those leads worth $5 million and we're paying $5,000? That's a good thing. Are they worth $5 and we're paying $10? That's a bad thing. So conversion rates, bounce rates, social shares, you got to understand your KPI. Know the target audience. 3 key reasons to know the target audience. Ensure you create the right content for the right people, right? There's going to be a certain demographic. There's going to be a certain psychographic. There's going to be a certain way they're used to seeing and digesting content. We want to make sure our writers can write that way, whether it's technical writing, whether it's really low on the Flesch Kincaid rating scale, 6th grade, 7th grade. They're used to seeing it at a collegiate level. We really need to understand how people are used to digesting that and match it. How do we get this? Look at the mousetraps out there. How are other people writing it that are having a lot of success? We don't need to recreate anything. We just need to match up with our value proposition. This is who we're trying to be. Write the content for those potential users that we want consuming or using our service or product. Gain deeper understanding of what benefits content should provide to the target audience. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to educate them? Are we trying to empower them? Are we trying to really eventually just weave them into our service? All fine. We just need to understand what we're trying to do. And that's why we want to have content at the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom of the funnel, usually from people that are just generally learning about it, all the way to vetting out clients, all the way to picking somebody to use. And then increasing conversions, right? So we want information and pages and just stuff to get in front of people that can eventually fall down our pipeline. And usually, really, it's what are your goals, right? Are we making information that causes people to complete our goals, or whatever we think is a goal for our business? And depending upon your goal, you want to get people down that funnel. So to pin down the target audience, research the demographics. You're going to get this from social media. You're going to get this from Google Analytics. You're going to get this from the competition. You're going to get this from past historical data. A good idea. Don't trust your gut. Look at the data. You're going to want psychographics, understanding a little bit about these people. I hate to say it, but it's really true. What states are they in? Republican, Democrat? What leanings do they have towards guns? What leanings do they have towards the government helping, local government, national government? All of this is going to help you position your product and your marketing towards these people. This is the real deal. Receive customer feedback. There's nothing better than reading good and bad reviews on yourself and your competition. What do we do bad? What do we do good? What can we do better? And then also reviewing them. Rarely is a marketer or a business owner downstream from the business. We very, very much are removed from that over time. It even gets worse. So we want to review these people, or ask for feedback, or get customer feedback in a survey, and just ask them these questions so that we can really build that psychographic or that persona. And then we build these cards. You usually find out that your business built your business on this certain card named Tom, and now you've done so well, you find now that there's this John card that has more money to spend, or does things differently, or can buy your product in bulk. And then you've really done well with John, but now you see this new Sally, and so you're seeing these personas. And then beyond Sally, you sometimes see this Jack, or whatever. I know these generic names, but see these 4 personas, and really you're here, but you want to be here and here. And then you realize that, whoa, we really just want to focus here. So you build these personas, and it helps you target your content and your strategy and your marketing and your pitch images and videography and etc. So assess current position. We have to know where we're at. We have to know what converts. We can't leave behind what converts. That's what pays the bills. That's what creates cash flow and a marketing position for a CMO or for a marketing manager. So a content audit is going to uncover these things. Where are we at? Where are we trying to go? Etc. So strengths and weaknesses. We want to look at a SWOT, digital SWOT, a content SWOT. In the strategy, what gaps do we have? Can we repurpose content to do better against keywords? You're going to get this information out of Google Search Console. You can also get it out of third-party tools, Ahrefs and SEMrush and some others. But really, Search Console, I made this page to rank for these terms, this keyword. It's not. What is it ranking for? Search Console, I've got 1 million impressions and 42 clicks. I've got 30,000 impressions but 200 clicks. Aha! Okay, what is that term? Where is it mentioned in my content? Is it in the meta title? Is it in the H1? Is it in the H2s? Is it in the body? Is there a section? I need to retool that into the content and really kind of maybe change the H1 in the meta titles and really focus down that line. See if I can repurpose this against that smaller 30,000 that's showing me a higher click-through versus that million with one. Or maybe you want to go after that million with one if you reflect that's right, and we're just not getting a good opportunity. Maybe we wouldn't be on page 10 with 1 million impressions, I'll tell you that. We would probably be page 1 or page 2, maybe towards the bottom, or maybe it's just not a good fit. These are all things we have to analyze and look at with our current positioning, where we want to go and where we think the leads are. It's not science. It's science and art. It's a push and a pull. It's the scientific method. Hypothesis making, hypothesis breaking. I see this, I do that. I put an annotation in my Google Analytics so I know what I've done. So if I make it worse, I can go back. Popular keywords within the content, right? We wanted to have an idea of what this page is supposed to rank for, whether it's a geo-modified service or it's something else within the macro research we've done that's going to help us just bring up our name in the SERPs around a certain topic, service, or product. So this is what we're assessing: current position in the SERPs under keywords, how the page is doing, how can we improve them. Figure out the content channels. Where are we going to publish this stuff? Is it going to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and other places like LinkedIn that allow us to publish high quality content? Do we repurpose that content, publish it there in large 2, 3, 4 paragraphs? Do we put it on some other places we're allowed to blog? Maybe we have some other blogging sites. Or do we just blog about it on our website? Do we push it out on the wire with PR companies? So we're going to use analytics to investigate different channels that are pushing traffic back to the site, right? Because we want to see who's getting to the site, because that's where our call to actions are. So analytics tools can show different social networks where content's being shared on. Certainly we're gonna see channel information in Google Analytics, see what the success rate, what the bounce rate is, what the dwell time is, what the high quality traffic completing our goals are. Very, very important stuff. We may see that we're using a social media traffic that just is a whole bunch of very junky traffic, right? And then you may see that you spend very little time, you wouldn't know this if you didn't measure it, in LinkedIn, but that very little time I spend always brings me conversions. This is the answers we need to know, because conversions turn to leads, turn to sales, pays our salaries, makes the company more money, helps us to be better marketers. So choose the platforms that are performing best to target for social media engagement, shares for content, getting people back to the site to complete the goals there, maybe making phone calls, submitting forms, getting into our chat bots, etc. Decide content types. And there's a lot of content types and you can't really go wrong. You just need to match it up against what your end user is expecting to digest. Whether that's a case study, white papers, ebooks, newsletters, infographics, webinars, interviews, white papers, vlogs, videos, surveys, podcast slides, more, doesn't matter, all of them, none of them, figure it out. What we do is we test them, because you can't do all of this, obviously. One person can't handle all of these things. Really, how many people do you have on your team? Do we see what the competition is doing? What are they doing? We need to match what they're doing and do it better. And then if we feel like, or we can see that they're getting followers on their podcast, they're getting followers in their YouTube, there's a good potential it's turning into potential leads and sales. So first and foremost, think digital SWOT. How can I match these weaknesses we have against these other spots that it looks like people are looking in those areas for this content? And then match it up against your team's strengths, right? We may want to vlog, but we may not have a videographer or someone that can do post editing. Identify and allocate resources. If you don't have a robust 10-person marketing team, 20-person marketing team, you can't do everything. Really, legitimately, 3 to 4 people is a very small team. We have any given time, anywhere, depending upon the projects we're on, 10 to 20 people. on any given project. So it's really about defining what needs to be done and having the right resources, human, etc. And so content production process should also be clearly defined. Example process might look like, we're going to create an outline. We'll do that early research. That's, to me, is where all the real work is done. Have it approved. Make sure it sits within the scope of the company, the scope of the website, and really what we're trying to win for. Write the content. Add images. Of course, this is when it's being published. And of course, internal links are super important. Linking to other content that's horizontal and vertical. Edit the blog post, making sure that we're editing it over time, making sure that it's evergreen. We're improving it. Every year, if things change, we kind of change with the seasons. Of course, maybe before final approval, you may need to get approval, and this is super important for some business owners where they don't want things published out to their site without first seeing it and approving it, and maybe adjusting it. And then, of course, after that approval, you might get a publish, or you can hit publish. Of course, beyond this, you could always have adding schema markup. In here, you can have, there's a lot of things, but this is just a generic process of dates, who's in and responsible, what date and who's responsible, and we can really track these things down the pipeline. So creating a content calendar, again, content calendars should inform us like the ideas of the content. What is the macro research? And we'll show you examples of macro research. What have we identified of all the pages that need to be written and what's on those pages? And so when in the year is the best place to write those things? Ideas of content topics, seasonal, evergreen, and then assigning writers. If you're like me, you may have 10, 20 writers at your disposal. Who's writing it? And how are they all working together? And do they all have the same skills? Internal links, understanding what content is already available to link out to. Do they have the liberty to say, look, we need to create another page, or we're gonna have to link out to someone else's resource? We certainly, it really depends upon what assets you have or what teams you're working with. Editors and publishers are significantly different. Writers, editors, publishers, this could really be 3 different people. And then even a scheduler or a project manager could be above that. We could be talking about 4 different people here. You could be really lucky to have one person that gets the writing, the editing, the publishing, the whole calendar all together. You certainly need to have someone that's over these things. Figuring out publish dates. Is it like on a weekly on Mondays? Is it bi-weekly? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? It certainly makes no sense usually. And then what channels are we going to push it to once we've published it? So then once we figure these things out, we've got to then create the content. We certainly have to understand the target audience. We don't want to target everybody, and we don't want to target everybody in the space. If we're a niche product and we say, hey, our buyers are different, then we really want to target the difference in those target audience. We call that our value proposition. And so what are the goals of the business? Should naturally lead to know what type of content to generate. Who are we trying to target? Let's make the type of content that those individuals are digesting. And so if we create content that brings us a lot of people that are not really the potential buyers, there can be a lot of wasted time there and a lot of wasted effort. Granted, it's very hard to write content that strictly only targets them. In some cases, it is easy and doable, but in others, usually we're gonna get a catch-all net. And then we might try to target those people that have done certain actions with maybe some CPC or some additional information to get those true buyers down that funnel. Distribute and market. This isn't done. We've made the content. We've got a content calendar. We've got it written, edited, proofed, published. We're distributing it in different places. It is now the next part. We want to distribute it to the market. We want to help push it along. We want to put it in social media channels. We want to share it with influencers in the space. We want people to really get a hold of it, share it, like it, and continually read it, come back to the site, get it in our email journeys, push it out to every different way that we can so that we can really get that traffic to the site and see how people digest it. And we can use that as an additional checkpoint of the content against our current end users and hopefully future end users. And so it all comes down to measuring. You have to understand what is a success measurement. What do we think defines success for a content strategy? What happens is the people that are over CMOs and marketers, they don't realize that a content strategy can take months, can take years, can take half a decade. The reality is it depends upon your competition. If you have a competition that's got 100 articles, 5,000 pages writes 5 times a week, has 5 writers, you may never catch them. That's reality. But if you've got a competitor that's got maybe 200 pages and you know they're adding, you get an idea they're adding about 10, 15 a year, then you create a strategy that catches up to that 200 and then keeps up with that pace. You could be looking at a 2, 3, 4 year window. And that content eventually will hit a tipping point. It's reality. Usually people above you paying your salary want to see some tipping points early. With content marketing, it's the long road. The long road in this case is the right road. If they want conversions now, they have to spend money on things that produce conversions now. Content marketing certainly is usually not that. Occasionally it is. When we write geo-modified pages, geo-modified service pages, we put it on a website URL that has a lot of domain authority, and usually those can win pretty quickly. Of course, they're always going to be helped by, you know, the GMB and local directories, and so there's a lot of things in the mix there. But depending upon the company you work, there may be a long journey here, and you have to have people and manage their expectations. That's part of being a CMO and a marketer. So that's developing a plan. If you need to listen to that again, go back now. If not, I'll see you in the next module.